Hama! I am worthy?
Yeah, you are.
Okay, people, welcome back to another Fwoosh overview. Today, let's take a look at the Hasbro Marvel Legends Infinity Saga Avengers Endgame Final Battle Thor. So many words just stuck together. Now, I was able to catch this in stock on Target.com for about $27, $26.50, something like that. And it was one of those that I wasn't planning to get, but you see something in stock like that, and it's just, oh. Click. But now, looking at it in the package, I'm glad I got it because I had Iron Man, I have Endgame Captain America. Got to finish the big three, right? And to just throw this out there before we get the close-ups of my fingers, I was just customizing. I was painting. I opened a white paint and it spilled all over the place. Pissed me off, mostly because it's like, why did you dump it? It's your own fault. So if you see white paint, and yeah, it's still there, no, it's action figure related. Looking at the package, it's what we're now used to with the Marvel Legends Infinity Saga stuff. It's that dark theme, these sparks and speckles that I keep thinking is dust. It hasn't been sitting around that long. On the side, nice graphic of Avengers in the MCU. On the back, there's that Avengers Endgame poster, little bio for Thor. Attention includes figure, 5 accessories. That's not a warning. What is going on? Oh. It's on the bottom. On the other side, same graphic. On top, Avengers Endgame. We're getting Thor in this package. On the bottom, warning, small parts. Don't put Thor in your mouth. More legalese, more little logos, barcode, but let's get this open. See what's going on here. One piece of tape on the bottom. Hefty cardstock. Cellophane. I'm not a cellophane. Oh, there's 2 lightning effects in there. Oh, tape through the back. Okay, getting it out, messing around with it for a while. It does have some sticking points because of the costume design from the movie itself and Thor's shape at that point in the movie, but it's still a damn fun figure. It doesn't do everything you want it to do, but I don't think he had the capability of doing it at that point. It does most of everything else you want it to do. But first, the sculpting design. It brings in elements from previous Thor costumes, in-games it up. I mean, they change up the costume every outing, and if you're here watching this at this point, then you're in it with me. You got to get every different version because they get progressively more badass. Well, I'm not saying anything about early looks, but as the movies went on, they got more cooler and cooler, I guess you could say. He's got the scales on the sleeves that call back all the way back to the first Thor movie, along with the discs on the torso. But then it brings in some different wrist details or vambraces or whatever you want to call them. Some of the detail does get lost in the black, but I like that there's different sheens to it. Here, it's more dull up on the sleeve. You get here, it's slightly more shiny. It's way more shiny when you get to the discs. So they stand out against the Asgardian type details. There is a touch of color with this copperish brown running around the bottom of the tunic. And then there's kind of a patch of it here. That may be one of my gripes. It doesn't travel past the thigh swivel. Just a slight bit more color and it would have looked perfect. Little bagginess and padding to the upper legs, get down to a knee pad that's lines through it, to the boots, the shin guard on front, and not a lot of paint on back. It's pretty much just in-game black. Well, that color does travel around on the belt. They didn't skimp on the details under a cape that is essentially going to be there. You'll never see this in normal posing. That is a rubbery material, black on the inside, red on the out. It's got some nice sculpting to make it look like cloth just draped, and it has a slight weight to it. That is pegged, whoa, big major peg right there sticking in the back, and it is glued here at the shoulder so it won't flop up. There's some detail around the shoulder area coming all the way up and around over the shoulder. Take the head off, you can see that it comes up to a collar around the neck. But like most MCU figures, it's the head that sells it, and it's his electrified, ready for a rumble look, so there's no pupils to be off slightly or look around. It's just full on angry God of Thunder. Love the beard, braid on the front, tied right there, little tuft. The hair coming down, tied up in the back, keep it out of his face. It's just a good look all the way around. Now, some people don't care for the shape Thor was in at that point, but man, it just fit into the story. It was understandable. And Hasbro captured that look with the gut coming out. It makes the arms a bit difficult to get down to his sides, but at the same time, in this shape, well, with muscles on top of that, his arms would be sticking out about that far. You can bring it slightly more in and down, but it likes to work its way back up. There's also a thickness to the thighs, and in the crotch area. You can get the feet together here, but as soon as you raise the legs, they spread out a bit. And with that, it does get in the way if you want to get super dynamic poses like we're used to with Marvel Legends, super articulated action figures. If you want to get down into a deep crouch, it's not going to happen. The gut gets in the way. That's physics. I mean, you still get some crunch because of the dumbbell joint in the mid-torso, but once you get below that, it's pretty stiff. It's actually an overlay. Going over articulation, there is a dumbbell joint at the top of the neck, but there's also a ball down at the bottom. That gets you just a little bit more movement, which is good because Thor's hair and beard kind of hang down and get in the way. You can come back, look up, get a little flex in that beard, look slightly down, some tilt, not bad. Rotation, arm rotates all the way around, hinge outside of that, brings it up slightly past 90. Swivel at the bicep, double elbow, that bottom one sticks a little bit, but once you get it free, it goes all the way. Rotation at the wrist with a hinge that goes up and down for a weapon wielding hand, and that is on both sides, at least on the grip hands. Very nicely done, Hasbro. Dumbbell joint in the mid-torso, crunches forward, arcs back, tilt, tilt, hula hoops around nicely and then rotates up there. Ball coming out to the hip, comes up, goes back, out, not shabby. Swivel at the thigh, double knee. Oh, you can already see it. I haven't even made it up to the ass yet. There's enough gap there for sure. Boom! It can go past his ass. Look, there's his ass. Goes past it. Hinge at the ankle goes back, forward, then a front-facing pin for some rocker. For accessories, again, there's two grip hands, nicely done with the up and down grips. And grip hands means weapons. There is a Stormbreaker that I think is essentially the same mold we've seen before, but this time around they put translucent blue in the metal parts. Makes it look energized, and again, blends right into my background. They are just getting their money's worth out of blue translucent plastic lately. But it's not all translucent. They did add a little bit of silver to make it look like it's energized out towards the edges, or it's transferring out, you know? It's not just a plain old blue plastic blade. But it's in game where there's a Stormbreaker, there has to be a Mjolnir, and again, I think this has been used before. It has all the nice little sculpted details we're used to when we see the hammer, but again, blue translucent plastic with just some silver crackling, see the metal through the energy look. Well, hell, I got Steve right here. Yep, same sculpt. Even the little loop is hanging out in the same direction. Lighter brown to the handle, though, maybe because it's energized, more light shining on it. And then you get two of these clear blue energy effects, and I thought they were different at first, but it's actually the same piece. They aren't quite big enough to comfortably wrap around the arms. These are more meant to wrap around the weapons themselves. And it doesn't matter how you do it. You can put it any direction you want, or here, or loop, or throw around. If it looks good to you, that's all that matters. You can have it going down the weapon. You can have it coming up the arms while gripping on the weapon. I will tell you that this was kind of a pain in the ass to do, but worth it for the shot. If you have them using just one or no weapons, you can swap out the hands for a more action non-grip hand, and that's both left and right. Okay, I gotta point out, I don't know if it's the ankles or the weight of the cape, but in most cases, when I've tried to do this, stand him straight up, he's back heavy and he falls back, but of course. Thor is about 6.5 inches tall to the top of his skull, I'm assuming under the hair and everything, but up to the top of where the hair goes, it's 6 3/4, which totally works with the Marvel Legends Endgame Iron Man and Captain America. I'm starting to think at this point that Captain America, or at least this figure, is slightly short, but still works in a just standing there looking badass or action scene of any kind. Because there for a bit, the Marvel Legends MCU Thors were ridiculously large. And I kind of, well, he's Asgardian, he can be taller, but this is the proper scale to go with the rest of the MCU stuff, which Hasbro started scaling down with the Bro-Thor Build-A-Figure. These are essentially, it's the same dude, and it looks like the same dude. Dude. For Ragnarok, I used the Mezco 1/12 Collective, which now ends up a little short compared to the new Thors. I just can't win. So at the end of the day, it's a good-looking in-game Thor that is as agile as it needs to be. And that's where I'm going with that, because again, at this point in the movie, the shape he was in, even though he would still kick your ass, it's just not meant for super Spider-Man type poses. It is limited in places, but damn, They brought in the elbows, they go full length, the knees come up, kick his ass. So there is posability. You're just not going to get him crunched down or superhero poses or stuff like that. But oh, does it have some presence. It's a badass Thor. He knows he's a badass at this point, and it shows both on the outside and the inside. And the figure captures that fantastically. Again, like I said, I didn't know if I really wanted it, but when I saw it, I grabbed it, and now that I have it, I'm happy to have it because I can finish out that in-game display. He looks good standing with the other two, and really, when it comes down to it, that's what I was looking for. Good job, Hasbro. So if you enjoyed the overview, comment, like, subscribe. Much love to the plus. If you're interested in seeing videos early or in a position to help out the channel, patreon.com. But wherever you may be watching this, I'll always catch you on the Fwoosh. I talked about the cape as a negative at first because it just hangs there. It adds some weight. It doesn't do anything dynamic. But when I hit this pose, it does act as a stand. It's a tripod. So he won't fall back for sure here. He'll fall forward, as long as it's leaned back a little bit. It's going to hold it up.